Do you remember the 2023 NFL draft and how people talked about Bijan Robinson being this generational running back prospect? Well, the 2025 class, they don't have a Bijan. They just don't. But it's a hell of a lot better than 2024, and I can't wait to get into it. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So I continue my summer deep dive into the 2025 NFL draft class. This time, talking about the running backs. I'm going to give you my top 10 in this video, but stick around until the end because I'll go over some of the guys who just missed the list. And I'm going to be quite honest, there's a lot of guys I want to talk about. So let's go ahead, get this sucker started. With number 10, Devin Neal out of Kansas, coming in at 5'11", 215 pounds. He was actually in my top 10 last season, but before deciding to return to school, he was a former 4-star recruit out of the 2021 recruiting class, and almost instantly became a starter, right, at Kansas. He had 8 starts his freshman season, and this was a cat that also was recruited for baseball, and he was splitting time between baseball and football. And it wasn't until this year where he decided to quit baseball and to focus solely on football. Had 11 starts, had a phenomenal year where he had over 1,200 yards, 17 total touchdowns, and he's a pretty explosive athlete. Like, he just plays real fast, and he showcases real nice burst, whether that's turning up field to blow through like the running lanes, or if it's coming off of screens. However, he can sit behind the line and be patient as a ball carrier and wait for his blocks to develop. He's also very creative as a runner. I like the foot speed. He does a really good job of going like slow to fast. He's got a nasty little false step, which just leaves defenders eating dirt. And honestly, once he gets it in the open field, you got to watch out because he might put you in a blender. The contact balance is pretty darn good this past season, 60 force missed tackles. That is a rate of 0.3, which is pretty darn good. Essentially, force missed tackles per carry. Typically, you want to be, the really good running backs are going to be like 0.28. So he's well within that range. Top of that, he has showed very improved hands in the run game. He's become a much more natural pass catcher. The vision has gotten much better, though it is something I'd like to see him work on a little bit. I feel like he can get sometimes a little too bouncy behind the line of scrimmage and he kind of wants to just bounce the play outside. And I'm kind of curious about his long field speed. Like, I just don't think he's got that third gear where you could get to the second level, but not necessarily maybe pull away or break away from secondary players. You'll see him get caught from behind here and there. Top of that, the pass protection's kind of not great. He likes to cut block, and he essentially whiffs a lot on cut blocks. He essentially just gets pushed to the side. But I got a 3rd round grade on him. I had a 3rd round grade on him last year. We're gonna stick with that and see how he does this season. At number 9, I have Kyle Monangai out of Rutgers, coming in at 5'9", 210 pounds. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of the 2020 class, and his brother Kevin actually played in the NFL. He was a UDFA coming out of Villanova and played a couple of years with the Vikings and the Eagles, but Kyle wasn't a full-time starter until the 2022 season, and last year was kind of his breakout year where he made 2nd team All Big Ten. He was the Pinstripe Bowl MVP against my Hurricanes. That sucked. That hurt a little bit. But man, I don't know what it is in the water there at Rutgers, but the dude's he runs with a little Isaiah Pacheco aggression, if you know what I'm saying. He's got a little bit of a violent running style. He's already got a nice low center of gravity at 5'9", but he keeps his pad level low. He runs with that aggression. He's able to square up and push off defensive linemen. Like that, he demonstrated that against Ohio State. And Ohio State, they have horses constantly on the defensive line. So a very impressive feat there. Really good vision and cut-in ability. He's very patient in the backfield and just constantly makes like the correct decision when it comes to which blocking lanes he's going to choose to go with. Even when the blocking's less than ideal, he does a good job of getting positive yards or avoiding negative, I was going to say negative gains, but that's kind of an oxymoron. But he also plays with really light feet. Really does, man. He's got a little shimmy, a little shake, a little nimbleness between the tackles. You don't want to really see him in one-on-one because, for one, the physicality, and two, again, light feet could kind of put you in a blender if he wants to, but he's got good contact balance as well. As last season, he had 73 forced missed tackles. Another guy who was at that 0.3 forced missed tackles per attempt. So again, in that green area, I like to see that. And if I'm really going to critique him, it's probably another guy that doesn't have that home run speed. Like, he's got no problems gaining yards by the chunk, but he will be ran down by secondary players. Shorter player, he's got shorter strides, so it's not that surprising. And also, he was very limited in the passing game. They just really didn't give him much work as a receiver or even as a pass blocker. However, from the few pass protected sets I saw from him, he doesn't play with that fear. He plays with that dog in him, displays good recognition when picking up blitzes, and does a good job of putting himself between the defender and the quarterback. He may be nothing more than a speed bump, but still, I think that's pretty valuable when it comes to the NFL. Currently, 3rd round grade on him. Real quick, I got to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. I absolutely love Underdog Fantasy because I love football, and now that the football season is far and away, it doesn't mean my betting season has to be, because they do all kinds of sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, esports even. They got you covered, whether that's weekly best ball or my favorite, higher lower on player props. So if you sign up at Underdog Fantasy using promo code Broshmo, then they will give you a first-time deposit up to $250. That's right. That's right. So if you're gonna go and bet with Underdog Fantasy, use promo code Broshmo, take advantage of this offer, but please bet responsibly and bet within your means. At number 8, I have TreVeyon Henderson out of Ohio State. He's a former 5-star recruit, and some of y'all might be a little shocked that he is this low on my list. But I'm going to be honest, man, the last couple of years haven't been too ideal for him, and a big part of that is because of injury. I mean, he was playing with a torn ligament and a broken bone in his foot in 2022. Then he had an undisclosed injury last year. A lot of that took a mental toll on him, and he's been very open about some of his mental struggles. Also had sleep paralysis this past season, but been open about depression and how he's overcome that. So this is a guy with that mental toughness, and you're kind of hoping he can stay healthy this year. And to be fair, I mean, they bring in Quinshon Judkins, which should help. I mean, now you're going to be working with a very good counterpart. We'll talk about him a little bit later on the list, but just the numbers haven't been ideal recently. He was just under 1,000 yards this past season, but a 0.19 forced missed tackles per attempt isn't a great number. It's, in fact, a bad number. So I'm hoping he improves in that regard, but he's very much a make you miss or I will outrun you. Like, he's got a good build, but it's that explosiveness, man, because he legit, if you show him daylight, he will take it, and he will take it to the house. He is pretty darn elusive, plays with a serious like shimmy and shake to him, and he's displayed very good vision regardless of scheme, whether it's a zone blocking, gap blocking. He's shown he can do it all. He's shown ability as a pass catcher if you look at his more healthy seasons being 2021 and 2023, 13 forced missed tackles on 38 receptions. Is a guy that can create after the catch, and I like that about him. However, again, the contact balance is pretty lackluster. It just is, man. He does appear to be a little thinner in the lower body, just doesn't eat contact around the waist. Sometimes he gets caught trying to do a little bit too much. One little fun thing, I don't know what it is, but like I feel like he does a lot with his offhand when it comes to being a ball carrier. Like, he legitimately at some times looks like Jack Sparrow. Like, I feel like you could just watch his all 22 and they just play da 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 da. It's a pretty piss poor imitation of Pirates of the Caribbean, but you get what I'm saying. I still like him. I'm still holding out hope. However, in a running back class that feels like it's going to be relatively stacked, I could see him getting lost among the pack. At number 7, I have Jonah Coleman out of Washington, coming in at 5'9", 225 pounds, former 3-star recruit from the 2022 recruiting class. And initially, he was at Arizona the last 2 seasons, decided to follow his head coach, Jed Finch, over to Washington this offseason. He only had 5 starts last year, but he made the most of it. Like, he had 860 yards, and that was only on 127 carries. And he had 46 forced missed tackles. He was averaging 0.36 forced missed tackles per attempt. His yards after contact were 5. That's rare as hell. If you're above 4, you're already in the upper percentile. But 5, kind of a ludicrous number. But he's got a powerful and a very girthy build, kind of like a bowling ball a little bit, and he eats contact really well. He drives his legs through contact, which I love. I think regardless of position, if you're someone who keeps moving their feet through contact, it's a great thing. His vision and burst is pretty darn good. He's a very decisive runner. He doesn't like to overstay his welcome, and he actually gets to top speed relatively quickly. And once he starts going, he's going to be hard to stop. Soft hands in the passing game, by the way. Like, a better catcher than you would expect. And to be fair, like, what was it? Michael Wiley, who was the other back there at Arizona, was more looked at as kind of the receiving option. But like, Coleman ate, man. He did. He had 294 receiving yards this past season, or was that 278? 278. So I gave him 20 extra yards there. But good pass protector as well at that size. I hope you are. You're girthy. You're strong. You better be able to pass protect well. Won't be like, he's not a lateral mover guy. He's not someone that's got that lateral quicks. He's not twitched up. He is very much a north-south runner, and not the most dynamic ball carrier. Not a guy that's gonna like create or make you miss. You get him in the open space. He sees you one-on-one. He's gonna want to lower the shoulder. It has worked really well for him thus far. So going into the season, 3rd round grade on him. At number 6, I have a Trevor Etienne out of Georgia. Does this sound familiar? Because it should. His brother's Travis Etienne of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Etienne was a 4-star recruit coming out of the 2022 class, and initially was at Florida and decided to transfer this past season. Only had 1 start last year, was kind of wild, but he put up really, really good numbers. He was averaging over 4 yards after contact. Again, you're in that higher percentile, so I really like seeing that. But the dude is lightning quick. Like, in terms of speed, he might be faster than his brother, and I think his brother was about 10 pounds higher, 10 pounds bigger at his pro day, and ran a 4.43. I think Trevor might be a sub 4.4 guy, and the dude's a twitched up athlete. Like, he can take it to the house on any given play. He can make you miss just with a little shimmy. He puts dudes in an absolute blender out in space. He actually runs with a really good pad level, and he does a good job of just being nimble and small between the tackles. Being at 5'9", having that kind of natural low center of gravity does help, of course, but great stop-start ability. Again, twitched up athlete. He makes it hard for defenders to get a clean hit on him, and his ability as a pass catcher and returner are among the best in this class. Over half of his total yards, or just under half of his total yards, were either in the return game or the receiving game. So he's really, he can almost do it all for you. However, there are some inconsistencies with his vision. Like Etienne, he likes to run the play as it's drawn up and won't always look for other opportunities. Like I saw him pass up or possibly not even see options like cutback options. Also, his ability in pass pro, he's at 205. I don't expect him to be that good in pass pro. Like, he does a good job of picking up blitzes and trying to be that wall for his quarterback. However, he just gets ran over. No one's really going to take him serious as a pass protector. But I do like that he has got that dog in him, maybe that bulldog in him. So I like seeing that willingness. Also, let's just kind of go ahead, address the DUI arrest. That was just a few months ago, actually. And I went ahead, I read the report, and from what it looks, it just seems like he was a dumb kid that was trying to get home, that drank a little bit too much. Actually, some of the banter back and forth with the cop was a little funny, but still, DUI, driving under the influence, that's very serious. You're putting other people at risk. I don't condone that by any means. But this is a guy that doesn't... I didn't find anything else on him character-wise that would tell me that this is something that would be a problem for him in the future. And hopefully it's not. But is something you definitely want to monitor with him. At number 5, I have Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, coming in at 6 foot, 220 pounds, former 4-star recruit from the 2022 class, and also played basketball, ran track in high school. His brother and cousin played football, not to the level that he is, but man, he's been a hella good. He showcased a little bit what he could do his freshman season. Then last year was a 12-game starter, ran for 1,500 yards, had 16 total touchdowns. So a great year for him, and the dude just has that blend of size and power, right? He has got a thick build, that thickish build that packs on a lot of muscle. He wears it really well. He's capable of lowering that shoulder and just kind of winning through contact. Being able to get underneath defenders is kind of nice. However, I do think being a taller back, he kind of runs with an inconsistent pad level. He doesn't always get that necessary leverage to be able to get under defenders, but he hardly goes down after first contact. He's one of these guys that has over 4 yards after contact, so you love to see that. He's got very nimble footwork. I like the burst, good jump cut, explodes off his cuts as well, and just that combination of speed and size makes it really hard to get negative plays, right? He plays with that leg drive. I love that. He's shown ability in the passing game, very soft hands. He can create after the catch and just being hard to bring down. Also, that size makes him a very nice pass protector. However, some of the things that honestly, the two big issues is the fumbles. He had 3 fumbles this past year. Kind of hoping, that number goes down, and it's not like the most outrageous number either, given his workload at 254 carries last season, I believe. But also his vision's really inconsistent. Like, he wants to be a downhill runner. He doesn't waste a lot of time in the backfield, but I'd like to see him be a little bit more patient, right? I like to see him give his offensive line a bit more of a chance to create those run-in lanes. And I know the offensive line wasn't that good last year, but there are just times where he just ends up slamming into the back of his blockers. Like, give it a little bit more time. I do want to see a little bit more patience. At number 4, I have Damien Martinez out of the Hurricanes. Hurricanes picked him up like a week or so ago. I'm excited. Hopefully that doesn't mean, it's all downhill from here, but he was formerly a 3-star recruit out of the 2022 class and went to Oregon State, where he was essentially an instant starter, made first team all Pac-12, was the Pac-12 offensive freshman of the year. And then last season was once again first team all Pac-12, RIP Pac-12. And he decided to transfer after the season with the coaching changes and whatnot. And now he's here with the Hurricanes, man. Mario Cristobal, don't screw it up. Don't screw it up. He's coming in at 6 foot, 238 pounds, and straight up, he does not look like he has an ounce of fat on him. He carries that weight really, really well. He's extremely tough to bring down. He's got a very powerful lower body. He can just carry guys when it comes to guys trying to bring them down. His force missed tackle rate per attempt was 0.29 last season, but he also has he's got pretty solid speed and cut-in ability. Like, he's much shiftier than you would expect, and he actually showcases some pretty solid burst. Once he makes his cut, he's able to weave through traffic, and it's just a thing of beauty with him. And he honestly has some solid top speed. Like, I wasn't expecting that. So I love he's got the physicality to get the tough yards, but he also has that ability to actually break away. But that was super nice. He had 39 explosive plays last season, essentially plays for 10 or more yards. However, his ability in the passing game, Martinez really struggles to make catches away from his body. Really just kind of prefers to be a body catcher. His drop rate in 2023 was 15.4%. So yeah, a little alarming. But also at his size, he should be a much better pass protector. Sometimes he just tries to bear hug defenders, which kind of explains why he wasn't really on the field during passing downs for the Beavers. On top of that, bigger back, no kidding, not a twitched up athlete. He doesn't have great stop-start ability. The just change in direction just takes him a bit to gather himself to do that. But all in all, man, like, this is a tough, let me tell y'all, this is a tough class to, like, not evaluate. Like, it's been a pleasure, but like, there are just so many good players in this class, and it's like picking hairs between them. Like, I like them all. I truly do. But let's go ahead, get to my top three, because from here on out, I actually have first round grades on all these guys. Starting with number 3, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State. Mentioned him a little bit earlier when we were talking about Henderson, but he was formerly a 3-star recruit out of the 2022 class. Was at Ole Miss and immediately made a big impact, started eating into Zach Evans' workload there at Ole Miss, and was the SEC Freshman of the Year. He was a first-team All-SEC. Started all 13 games this past season. Once again, rinse and repeat. First team All-SEC. Coming in at 6 foot, 219 pounds. He runs low. He runs violent, man. I love the pad level he plays with. He's able to eat contact really well. He can just slash through defenses with this just sudden and vicious running style. But he's also patient. And then he's explosive. What a great combination, right? He displays really good vision. He'll remain patient while holes open up, but once they do, he just puts the pedal to the metal. He throttles down. He is quick. He has that ability to get nimble and small between the tackles. Like, legitimately, some of the holes that he made it through was like, hell yeah. I think it was it the LSU? I think it was South Carolina. It was a South Carolina game I was watching. And just some of the holes he was able to get through, golly, thing of beauty, let me tell you. Also, very dangerous out in space. If he catches it and has a defender one-on-one, then good luck. You're about to get sauced, my friend. I'm sure there's a better verb I could have used there, but we're going to go with sauce. Very light feet, very good at sidestepping defenders. It'd be really nice to have seen Ole Miss use them a little bit more in the passing game. Maybe that's something Ohio State will do, though Henderson's actually a really good pass catcher, so maybe not. Maybe not. I will say, not an elite athlete. Like, he won't beat most secondary players in a foot race. He's definitely more quick than he is fast. And also his pass protection ain't all that. It's just not. He needs to work on his technique, and I wish he would just be more physical. Like, it's so wild how passive he is as a pass blocker compared to just his aggression as a ball carrier. But we're gonna see how he does this season. A lot of things indicate to me that if he were to make it at that back part of the first round, it would not surprise me. I think we're dealing with a class similar to what was it like? Travis Etienne, Najee Harris, and you could have made a great case for like Javonte Williams going in the first round as well. You had two of those three guys end up going to the first round. This could be the same case. The question is, who be on the outside looking in? But let's go ahead. Let's talk about number 2. With that being Ollie Gordon out of Oklahoma State, coming in at 6'2", 216 pounds. Former 3-star recruit out of the 2022 class and became the full-time starter last year. Last year was kind of his breakout year, and what a breakout year it was. Started all 14 games, won the Walker Award, was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, a first-team All-American, just absolutely put himself on the map, going for 22 total touchdowns, over 1,700 yards rushing, and also 330 yards receiving. Kind of a nutty year, but he is sheer physicality. Like, you would think Gordon was closer to the 230 range because his play strength and ability just to eat contact is top tier. He is a taller back with room, actually more room and space to put on his frame if he wants to, but quite frankly, he doesn't need it. Also, I think he might have some of the best vision in this class along with the footwork. Like, his bread and butter is just finding the open lane and being able to hit it at the right time. He plays with a nasty jump cut, and he can go from horizontal to vertical in the blink of an eye. He can find those cutback lanes, and it just kind of makes him a fit for any scheme. And the contact balance, really good. The elusiveness, really good. Like, he runs through most arm tackles. They hardly, honestly, even phase him. And he's got some shiftiness in the open field. Like, his stop-start ability ain't all that bad. I was actually pleasantly surprised. But when he squares his shoulders up, best believe he is about to get an extra 4 yards because he is going to knock you to the turf. Also brings some ability in the passing game. Just being able to he's just tough to bring down after the catch. Not like he ran a crazy route tree at Oklahoma State. It's really just the basic running back route tree, swing screens and such. But he is able to create after the catch. Does lack elite speed. Doesn't have those burners. There were multiple times where he was caught from behind on big runs. Doesn't necessarily really accelerate that well either, but he's a locomotive. If you let him build up that speed, he's gonna be flying. He was, I think he was recorded at 23 miles an hour at one point last season. So again, build up speed, but this were like similar things we said about Jonathan Taylor coming out. Also, the hands can be a bit inconsistent, 9.3% drop rate last season. But all in all, man, I feel really good about Ollie Gordon potentially being a first-round pick. I feel a little better about him than Judkins, though it's pretty darn close. Judkins had the better forced missed tackle rate per attempt, but Ollie Gordon had the better yards after contact. Then you can make the case. Judkins was never really put the ball on the ground. Gordon had like 2 fumbles last year, but Gordon was also a bigger presence in the passing game compared to Judkins. To me, that's it's a 2-horse race for who's second. But for me, there is a number 1 by a bit of a margin. And that number 1 is Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State, coming in at 5'9", 215 pounds. He was a former 4-star recruit in the 2022 recruiting class. He played running back, wide receiver, defensive end, linebacker, and safety in high school. He also played basketball and participated in track and field. And he gets to Boise State, more of a rotation guy. And then this year became really the full-time starter as Alani, was dealing with injury and whatnot. Was a second-team All-American, was a big breakout year. And How people felt about Jahmyr Gibbs in the 2023 draft is how I feel about Jeanty. And I'm not saying like that's a comparison because they are very different prospects. But in terms of they thought Gibbs was a top 20 player despite being a running back, that's where I'm at with Jeanty. I truly am. He's short, he's sturdy, he's buff. Coming in 5'9", 215, nice low center of gravity, shorter stature, jacked to the T. Like pure muscle, and it shows as a ball carrier. He is so stinking tough to bring down. And there are some cases on film of him just dragging defenders and making them look like leg weights. Like this dude's forced missed tackles per attempt, 0.38. It's among the highest in the class. His yards after contact, 4.5. It's among the highest in the class. I love it. He had 578 yards receiving. Yeah, this dude's a natural receiver. It's like he played receiver in high school. I don't know, but he's got soft hands. He knows the soft spots in coverage. Just does a really good job there. Plays with real light feet, good burst. He's just able to kind of like shift through traffic, and once he sees daylight, he knows how to hit that throttle. And he's got some legit burst to him. He's just a fluid athlete with really good stop-start ability. Plays with some real grit. Like he isn't afraid to mix it up as a pass protector. Like he'll go and get after it at the point of attack. And man, dude, he had a lot of touches in 2023, and it really felt like he took no plays off, man. I absolutely love it. Doesn't mean he's a perfect prospect. Had a lot of fumbles last year, 5 fumbles. And a lot of that had to do with second effort plays. Like he's sitting there, he's fighting for as many yards as he could get. Defenders are able to get in there, get good position on the ball, and strip it loose. I ain't gonna fault a guy for effort plays, but you got to do a better job of wrapping it up. It's got to be something he's got to clean up. However, he's so good in every other aspect of his game. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care that much. As long as he doesn't hit 5 fumbles this year, I think I'm kind of cool with it. There are times where he does feel a little bit too bouncy in the backfield and wants to kick it outside rather than just kind of waiting to see if a hole will open up. So I'd like to see a little bit more patience. The long speed, I don't think it's bad. Like I think he's gonna be in the 4.45 area, so it's not bad by any means, but it's not elite. But then again, I wouldn't say a lot of the running backs I really like in this class. I think aside from like Hampton and Etienne and Henderson, I have questions about their long speed. So maybe I just don't care. But dude, absolutely love him at this juncture. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about some of the guys who just missed the list, because I know the first name I'm going to see is Jaden Ott in the comment section. And I get it, man. He's got big numbers. It's just when it came down to it, I really didn't like it. Like him as an athlete. I thought he was a pretty mediocre, pretty mid athlete that just really gets by on good vision. Like he's a very complete player in a lot of regards. But man, I don't know. He felt more like of a high floor, low ceiling type of player. So like straight up, I think he was like running back 12 for me. Yeah, running back 12. So just missed the list. There's Taj Brooks out of Texas Tech, man. I love this guy. He's power back. And the dude bangs, and he bangs hard. His forced missed tackles per attempt, 0.33. 96 forced missed tackles. Kinda nutty. But does lack ideal quicks and speed. That's not his game. He's a power back. It kind of is what it is. Some people will mention Donovan Edwards. To be fair, he's coming off a down year last season for Michigan. And I get the dude's a legit home run threat. I like him quite a bit. However, I think he has only average burst and average contact balance. So I think he's a bit more, not gadgety, that's not the word I'm looking for, but more role specific. That's probably the better terminology I'm looking for. There's Jaquez Hunter out of Auburn. Plays much bigger than his size. I could have swore this guy was probably closer to that 230. ends up being like, what is he, like 210? 209. Man, I felt like he was so much bigger. I think it's because he's just got these broad shoulders, right? But very much a one-cut player, and so good running the football. It sucks that he kind of like struggles with just the passing game, whether it's as a pass protector or a pass catcher. But he's actually, I got him pretty high, man. I like him quite a bit. Some other guys, Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders. He's now at South Carolina. Kind of hoping he has a bounce back year after being hurt last season. Some people are really going to like DJ Giddens out of Kansas. Was it Kansas State, right? But another guy that I felt like didn't have like ideal. Is it launch speed? No, I think it's like, I think he's just not very quick, not very explosive. I thought the vision was inconsistent at times, though very patient and I would say very, very strong lower body. Most definitely. Maybe the Penn State guys. I think some people are going to be asking about them. Nicholas Singleton, kind of a down year, man. Like he struggled with it. Like he didn't look nearly as explosive, nearly as fast as he did his freshman season. The yards after contact, the forced missed tackles per attempt were really bad. Last year, and you go back, and it's like there's some inconsistencies there with his vision. So I feel like, man, he needs that bounce back year before I can really put him high, because that regression was a little startling. And also, there are some questions about him with drops and his pass protection. And then his teammate, Katron Allen, I felt was fine. He feels more of a mid to late day 3 guy, like not gonna wow you with his athleticism. Doesn't really do a lot in the passing game, but plays with good vision, plays with good low center of gravity. But yeah, I got those guys a little further down on my list. One of the more pleasant surprises I had during my watches was Terrion Stewart, I think is how you say it, Bowling Green. Man, this dude, straight up bowling ball. Probably more of a late day 3 guy, but oh man, he's got some sneaky shimmy to him. Like he doesn't have the quicks, doesn't have the speed, rarely used in the passing game, but just a really fun player to watch. And like his analytics are kind of nuts. Big reason actually why I went out and wanted to watch him. His forced missed tackles per attempt, 0.63, highest in this class. Kind of nuts. 4.81 yards after contact were the second highest among at least the guys on my watch list. So like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of curious about him. I'm kind of excited, but I don't think he's going to be anything more than a mid to late day 3 guy. Maybe Roman Hemby out of Maryland. Just kind of feels like a big scat back to me, coming in at 6 foot, 208 pounds, good lawn speed. But I mean, I felt he's just such a big play hunter that it hurts his analytics. It hurts him. It hurts his play-by-play consistency. His pass pros kind of wah, and the vision and patience comes and goes. But yeah, I mean, hey, this is a good class, guys. This is really good with guys that can emerge this season. Like I was a little sad that I couldn't get to guys like Penny Boone. I think he was initially at Toledo. Now he's at Central Florida, who's going to be splitting time with RJ Harvey, who I could have mentioned in this Just Missed It list as well. But man, I'm excited. I can't wait till I kind of finish my first wave of evals, and right before the college football season, I could go back and like watch some of these guys. I'm pretty darn excited. But let me know who are some of your favorite running backs in this class. If you don't know, now you know. I've already put out my defensive tackle rankings for the summer, as well as my quarterbacks. So if you want an early jump start to the 2024 college football season, an early watch list, go ahead, check out those videos. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.